Hey everyone, and welcome to the June edition of the Instructor Community Call. My name, as always, is Kyle Rosenthal, and thank you very much for taking your time to join us today. The agenda for today, obviously the welcome that we're in at the moment. Then we're going to have a chat about the Skillable Marketplace, and I'll introduce the person that we're getting coming in to talk about that. Then we do our favorite area, the instructor recognition. Moving on then to community, the resources, as well as any Q&A and that sort of thing you might have. So today's speakers, so it's me, the Microsoft certified trainer, as well as the technical program manager for our events team here at Skillable. And then we're going to be joined shortly by Jennifer, or Jen, who's our Director of Partner Commerce Solutions. And Jen's going to be talking to us about the Skillable Marketplace and some of the options that you might have as instructors if you've been doing any of your own development for content, to be able to host that in the Skillable Marketplace. And then also to be able to monetize that, so be able to leverage it off for your own use, as well as being able to potentially for others. All right, so some quick updates, just not much this month for the Microsoft updates. We do have a newly published course, that's the DP750, so using Azure Databricks, so that's been released this month. I did say last month that we were working on the GH300. That's still in progress, so that'll be out soonish, hopefully. And so expect to see some announcements around that once it's been released. All right, so yeah, short and sharp updates this month. So let's get into the Skillable Marketplace. And with that, I'm going to introduce Jen to come and join us. So Jen's now coming across onto the stage. Hey, Jen, welcome. How are you?
I'm good. How are you all?
Doing well. Before we get into the marketplace and the marketplace solution, that's the thing, would you just be able to introduce yourself a little bit to everyone, just what you are, what you do here in Skillable?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So hi, everyone. My name is Jen Gropel. I am the Director of E-commerce Solutions at Skillable. I've been here for a few years. This is a new role for me. We have had the person that was running this before and kind of setting this up went on to he moved away and did some other fun things. And so I happily took this over and was able to get a couple of our e-commerce solutions over the finish line and out into the public, where we're going to talk about Marketplace today. But been around in the online learning and lab space for almost my entire career, with 1 year spent in working in radio, and then just came back. So
there you go.
Excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
No problems. So we asked you to come today to have a chat about the Skillable Marketplace and what it is, and sort of basically from our instructors' perspective, what some of the options might be for them to be able to participate in it. So can you tell us a little bit about what it is?
Yeah, so the solution was actually a brainchild of the organization a few years ago, and then about a year ago, we decided to kind of put this in place. So the Marketplace solution is a central repository of labs developed by folks like yourself, or organizations as a whole, that people can come and buy those labs and have access to them, typically for 60 days. And the purpose of it, for where you all are concerned, is that it creates a new revenue stream for our partners or lab developers. You get access to new buyers. Our buyer audience, which I'll talk about in a minute, is specific to teams and organizations. We're looking at market validated demand, and we're doing a lot of research around that. And Skillable manages all of the transactions, all of the financials, the operations behind it. and you all would benefit from the financial split that you would get for a lab that you sold. So far, we're in our first phase of it, which is to build out the library. And then we expect to roll into our next phase where we're marketing out to the buyers. But you can see we have a number of different companies that have their labs out there right now, and we're just looking to expand. And hopefully some of you might be interested in that. So how it works, if we go to the next slide. I feel like I should have a cue, like touch my nose. How it works is that if you are developing your own labs, is we will list your labs there. So what we want you to do is just look, and they have to be self-paced in nature. You can add like instructions around it, either before or after the lab, or like a supplemental video, but they're meant to be, on their own as practice or standalone for the users. And Skillable will publish them onto our marketplace, and we will actually do the marketing as well out to our target buyers. So would love it if you guys would market as well, but that's typically something that Skillable is going to be responsible for. The buyers will do the transactions. We take the credit card payments. They can do multiple seats on there. And then what we do is we, in our agreement with you, would set up the revenue split and how that would get paid out to you on a monthly basis. So you would act as the subject matter experts to build those labs, and then we kind of do everything else, which is nice for you all. Next slide. So, yeah, and I pretty much went over this a little bit, but what we would do is work with you on your bundle breakdown. So, or think of it as like a SKU, something that is the purchasable item. Now, it could be one lab, or you might have 300 labs that make up one individual SKU. We would want to know what that looks like. And then based on the lab size, the lab's durations and whatnot, we would get all of that detail and let you know the minimum price that would have to be on the marketplace. You can go above that price all you want, but it just can't fall below that floor, so that we can ensure that there's actual revenue being generated from that. And then all we do is we ask that you QA, and that I think on the next slide, it outlines what our expectations would be for having a good lab experience. Was there a question? I'll just keep plowing through. But by all means, if people have questions, please jump in. We'll provide you with these publishing guidelines on what good looks like. And you guys actually might already have something like this if you're a lab author. But it's just around the quality that we want. It's for you all, basically things that we would be looking for, because Skillable, even though we're providing the operations behind it, we are not going to be QAing and whatnot. If somebody does come and we run first line of support, if they do notice that there is, a misstep or something like that in the lab, we'll report that back to you so that it can be fixed. But we just expect that, security wise and QA wise, that it's going to be top notch. And I think the previous slide, I just wanted to share this with you on who the target audience is. So primarily Skillable is going to be marketing out to team buyers. That's our ICP. And you can see that there's some job titles there, but really the pain points are these folks don't want to go through a long procurement cycle within their organization. They're looking to have maybe something quick and easy to help upskill their teams, and just, quick, easy, not have to go through a big hurdle behind it and get access quickly. We also know that training providers, probably some of yourselves that are on this call as instructors, that you might want some of these labs as supplemental material, or to go through classroom as well. But the point of these is that it's turnkey. They do allow for a pay-as-you-go. So some folks might be hit with, hey, we need you to, sign an upfront committed revenue to us, regardless of if you're going to meet that commitment or not. On the marketplace, it allows you to do that pay-go if you would like. And then subsequently, individuals may fall into place, but we're not going to be marketing to those folks. But we've seen some interest for individuals there. The topics that you see here, this is kind of what we're looking for based on our research of the market. These are kind of the high level generic things that we want. Now, that by no means means that we are just sticking with these. So we have clients with proprietary software and platforms. The more, the merrier. But from a marketing standpoint, and if you look at the website and whatnot, these are kind of the 7 topics that we're leaning into. The marketplace, and you guys are all welcome to go and register. It is at marketplace.skillable.com. So feel free to head out there. And I don't know if we have any more slides, Kyle, after.
No, that was it.
Go down. Yeah. So some of you might be wondering, well, what's next if that's something that you would want to do? Please feel free to reach out to myself. I'm happy to give you my email address. It's typically pretty easy. There's not an upfront commitment. What really happens is if you are offering labs that you would like to be up on the market to sell, we'll go through an agreement. There is a rev split that happens. But the nice thing is that there's really no investment in having to have your stuff on the marketplace. It's that rev split, and then we'll just go through, if you have existing labs, we can take a look at what might be great to get on the marketplace, or if you're looking to develop some things, we might be able to outline kind of a typical price point that might be good and how that would work out for y'all. So I think this is a wonderful opportunity for generating revenue for yourselves. And we have just a lot of options, and I'm just really excited about it. So any questions or thoughts or?
So if anyone does have any questions, feel free to drop them into the chat window. I suspect there'll probably be a few. There'll also be, Jen, I'm going to guess some ones that come after, like when people process a little bit more as well.
And thank you, Josh. Look at that. Getting a shout out from some of my friends. So and if you are looking for, and like not a lab developer, but you want to consume some of our labs, Skillable does have our Skillable Challenge library. Not all of the challenge labs are on the marketplace for various reasons. But they do have some marketplace specific bundles. If you are interested as an instructor in bundling some of that material to maybe some of your instructions, but you aren't finding it on the marketplace, please contact me, because we have the ability to do what we call a hidden library. So if it's something that we have at Skillable Challenges and you want to make it available, we can actually hide a catalog that is just specific to your training organization, so that from a cost perspective, the price doesn't get out to the rest of the world to purchase, but you yourselves can purchase kind of as that pay go. So.
Just a couple of sort of questions that will come to mind, because I had a discussion sort of around this with some instructors earlier in the year at a Microsoft event, like when this was sort of all being proposed and talked about and that sort of thing. So there's a couple of things just to kind of to I guess, pick up from you what you were saying and just make sure we're getting it clear as well, make sure I've got it clear, is that, so say, for instance, like, because this is the lab environment only that folk are going to be doing. So therefore, as you said, as an instructor, you might want to bundle this up with other content. So therefore, that would be something that the instructor would bring separate. So being into say for instance, they've got their own presentation, all those sort of additional parts, etc. They would bundle those separately from the marketplace and sell that on their own, on invoice and etc. And this would just be for the access into the lab environment that they'll be using for within here. Is that, make sure I'm getting that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So because this is kind of Skillable is marketing this out, whenever there's a transaction that happens and somebody buys it, Skillable is collecting on the lab portion of it. Now, if you had other things like a book or proprietary information that you wanted to include, what we have worked with some of our providers on is just including like a link out to the material that you want to purchase outside of ours, but the revenue that we would collect would be specific to those labs, and anything that you wanted to include in there would be supplemental in nature, but we wouldn't break out revenue to you or these other things specific for that. The other thing that some people have done, did that make sense, Kyle?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, absolutely. I just wanted to make sure that we were clear, because I know that instructors will sort of want to bring their own content apart from what the lab is. So I wanted to make sure that we were clear as to where that divide was. So
yeah, and you can purchase on behalf of your students. So we have a couple examples where the instructor will come in and purchase, 10, 15, 20, 30 seats at a pop, and then we can give you a code to give out to those users to come in. And, you could do the labs while you're, in a classroom or whatnot. Or you can just do them as supplemental, as kind of a value add to your instruction as after, and maybe a competitive differentiator for what you offer. And then there was another thing that I was going to say, and it completely spaced me. So that's how you go.
We've got a couple of questions that might come during that. So Michael had a question, which is that he's building something for T-Mobile, and he wanted to confirm that he can limit who's actually getting access to it just to that particular customer.
Yeah, you can. And that's through what we would call those hidden libraries. And we can work with you directly, but where they can have access to the Skillable Marketplace overall. But then based on the logins or a code that you could give them, when they log in, they would see any of those specific hidden catalogs that you all would manage, and they would just be able to purchase off of that.
Mm-hmm. And there's a question from Mark, which I think I can probably assist to answer as well, which is his question is, as a Microsoft certified trainer, am I allowed to develop labs for Microsoft products, or am I not allowed to profit from any labs that I develop? So I can probably take that one. So Mark, the only difference is that this is not like you can create the labs, but they're not Microsoft official content. So you can't obviously copy, take whatever you're doing with it as a Microsoft official content. But if you create your own labs, you can certainly deliver those. But the difference is they're not, like, they wouldn't count towards, say, for instance, your MCT deliveries. If you're doing it as part of like a course that you were developing. If you were developing, if you were wanting to add this on to an existing course, then that's it. Like, the other thing would be that, as Jen has suggested, this would be supplemental to the Microsoft official course. So you're delivering the course with an add-on bonus because you're the person who's presenting it, of these labs that you've developed. But yeah, so there's no restriction as an MCT. There's no restriction on you delivering something that's not Microsoft official content. but it's just not it's not counting towards your MCT deliveries because that has to be official content now. So
Thank you. Any other questions? And Kyle, as a follow-up to this, I have a calendar link that I'm happy to share out if you have any more questions or if you wanted to ask something after. I realize that there's kind of two different audiences that I'm probably talking to. One is around instructors and people that are training, and others might have your own labs that you would want to develop using Studio. So might have both here or just one or the other, but I'm happy to go through all of the different options that we have and hopefully create a new revenue line for you all, because we want you to grow so that we grow too.
Yeah.
And yes, Michael, I do have templates and like docs to get up and running. If you wanted to build labs, there's that. And then in terms of training and instruction, we also have information around that as well. But and the other nice thing about this is that it would be your brand. So we have a partner that we're working with right now who's just an individual that is building their own labs, and they're kind of coming out with their own brand that would be included on the marketplace. And we also do some promotion around you launching and whatnot. So it's a great way with a kind of a no cost solution. Again, like I said, other than your brain building the labs and your time around that, but Skillable kind of does all of the rest. So
yep. So Jen, I think if you can put so I think Kristen's going to add in the links for your calendar invite. But yeah, absolutely. I think there'll be a few people will take you up on that. So your calendar is suddenly going to become very full.
Yeah. I look forward to it. So
yeah.
Thanks for having me.
So the Mark, so part of that will be then, Mark, to answer your question for the hosting infrastructure, if you want to build a lab on how to configure other things, yes, we can also include that as well. So we do have the ability to be able to create infrastructure in Azure for you. Obviously, there's a cost involved with doing that. There's also certainly some guidelines and fencing that we put around those labs to make sure the cost is kept under control, etc. But yeah, absolutely, whatever you can do within Azure, AWS, and some parts of GCP, we should be able to include into those labs as well. So. Again, we certainly do have some guidance around how to set that up and how to configure that through as well. So, yeah. Okay. Well, as I said, Jen, I'm sure that you're going to have some full calendars shortly, because I think there will be a lot of interest for this. So I think because particularly some of those instructors who maybe have been doing this on their own already. There's good options to be able to now increase that market from, say, for instance, outside of just who they deal with, to be able to do some resell of some of that content. So I think it's a brilliant opportunity.
Great. Thanks for inviting me, Kyle. Yeah.
No problem.
I'm going to leave.
All right. Appreciate your time. Okay. All right. Well, now, Joshua, your question around the estimated date for the AB certifications. So I don't have them offhand. I know that as we start getting further across from beta into like production, then we'll have some more news around those. Generally, what happens is that those things are being developed at the same time as the certifications by obviously two different parties for the content. So once they're all up and running, then yeah, we'll have some more word or more details on those on the labs. So All right, so let's jump into our instructor recognition. So as you know, those of you done this before, you know that this is one of my favorite parts of what we do, because it gives us a chance to be able to call out folk who have made an impact in your classrooms. All right, so we have, since our last call, we've issued 550 badges out to 396 instructors. All right, and sort of, you know, regardless of where you are in that journey, there was a lot of folk that have made a difference. So, you know, they're going through from like those 147 that did their first class in the last month on our platform versus those folk that have delivered to their 250th class. Just having a look through the list of folk that we have in today to see if we've got any of them here. Oh yeah, I can see that Abdullah is in. So congratulations, Abdullah, for your first class. Is Kaya here? No, we've got Mohammed and Tim and Wallenberg. Congratulations to you. And then for the 25 plus badge, this is like the people that have registered to listen, so they might be hearing us afterwards or watching this afterwards. So the Li Chiong. So congratulations to all of you and anyone else who's got a badge this year, or this month. And then the number of students reached, this is also a really big one as well. You know, the same folk for their first students reached, so Abdullah, Kaya, Tim, Wallenberg, and then all the way through to our, you know, so 50 people had that 61 folk had the first 50 students that they'd reached, all the way up to Ryan, who reached over 8,000 students. So that's a huge achievement to make that much difference. And again, you know, I always say, like, sort of like, listen or look at how many folk that you've actually, you know, been able to influence and talk to during your lifetime as a trainer. And this is where, you know, there's you know, in Ryan's case, 8,000 students who they've been able to talk to and make a difference. You know, like whether that difference is answering a question, giving their students the ability to answer a question that they weren't able to otherwise, whether they got a promotion because of that, whether, you know, whatever it might be, like, you know, you've made a difference. And that's whether you've got your first student or whether you've got your 8,000th student, you have done something for someone in their life. So always keep that in mind. But yeah, shout out to Ben, to Jorge, to Ashwin, and to Emmanuel. Congratulations for all of those folk and the marks that you've made. So don't forget the instructor offers that we have. So the free access to the classes to be able to prep and expand your own knowledge. So whether that's through the Microsoft Lab Access, Mock Lab Access, we also offer the MCT All Access Pass and the AWS All Access Pass. So if you're either an MCT or an AWS instructor, you do get access to all of our challenge labs, which is what Jen was referring to earlier. So particularly if you're looking to do that delivery, some of your own custom deliveries, if you want to be able to leverage off some of those challenge labs to create a course around that as an example, then you certainly have the ability to be able to do that as well now through that marketplace really easily. As well as that, obviously, on the instructor recognition, and too far, we get access to all that through the skillable.com/offers, which is also what Kristen will throw into some of our, like, there's a document that Kristen puts in at the end that'll be have all the links to all of our offers and places to be able to sign up for our socials and that sort of thing as well. All right, so if we do have any questions at all, if there's anything that you want to ask, then please feel free to. It's a good opportunity to be able to do that. If you want to be able to come and ask come onto the stage and ask, you can certainly do that as well. Give a couple of minutes for folk to be able to add in any of those if there is, but otherwise we will wrap up and we'll see you next month. So just said a couple of a minute or so for folk to be able to write in. While we're doing that, just a reminder for the right screen, Kyle. For the various different resources that are in there. So make sure you do give us any of the feedback through feedback.skillable.com as well. If there's things that you want to be able to suggest improvements, changes, and that sort of thing to the platform, we can do that through that as well. All right, there's a question around, will there be labs available for the MS4004 courses? Off the top of my head, I do not know an answer for that. I can certainly try and find out, and we can come back next at our next meeting. So that's for the Copilot use cases. I would suggest there might be, but I can't back that up with any truth or any direct knowledge. But certainly I can take that on board and see if I can find an answer for our next meeting next month. So offhand I'm not sure, but I'll see. So, but yeah, so like a strong suspicion would be yes, would be the answer there. It would be how how they would be constructed would be my question. I'll take that and have that as a takeaway for me to be able to look at. All right. Well, that just leaves me to say thank you very much for your attendance. Thank you for coming and joining us this month. Thanks, Jen, for your time. And we'll meet again in the next next month's meeting. And again, as always, if there's any suggestions you have for folk that you want to be able to bring in as guests, if there's any topics, whether they're internal to Skillable or external to Skillable, then I can certainly try and chase someone down to have them on. There was a question that's just come in from Finny. Is it possible to have Copilot in the Purview workshop lab? Again, I can ask the question. I don't know the answer to that one, but I can certainly ask the question to see. I think it'll be a matter of what the content is that's in there. From memory, the Purview, for Copilot in Purview to be able to be of any use, it actually needs to be running for a period of time. And I think that might be the limitation to what the use for that would be to have it in the workshop. But again, I can flag it with our Microsoft content folk and see what we can find out for you. All right. But apart from that, thank you very much, and we'll see you next month.